Hi, Feel Good fam. Welcome back to Tough Love, a series on the Feel Good Love podcast where I answer all of your burning questions about life, relationships, love, friendships, work, and more, and give you the same amount of tough love that I would give any of my best friends, because that's what we are here on the pod, right? We're besties already. You've been with me for like nearly a year, which is crazy to think about, but I count you as a bestie now. I did a poll on my Instagram recently and asked you for all of your current burning questions. So I have them saved on my iPad, which is in front of me, if you're wondering why I'm constantly looking down. So I'm going to try to tackle as many of these as possible. I am planning to do one specifically for dating and relationships very soon with a special guest who's going to help me give advice and answer questions. So stay tuned for that episode. But I do already have a ton of questions on here that I'm very ready to give you my best advice for. If you have any burning questions that you want answers to in the next Tough Love episode, then DM me or email me at hello@coffeeswithangel.com and I will be sure to include them in the next episode. Heck, you know what would make this so much more fun? Send me a voice note. Seriously, send me a voice note to my emails or my DMs, and I'm going to include your voice in the next episode. Whether it's a question or whether it's a feel-good moment, I would love to be able to feature more of the Feel Good fam on the podcast, because what's the point of having a podcast if you can't invite your friends on it? Okay, we are diving right in. Mary Moo asks, feeling discouraged and lost as an unemployed new college grad, graduated as of June 24, tips or wisdom? Oh my gosh, I totally understand where you're coming from, Mary Moo. That time between when you've first graduated, you're unemployed, and you're looking for your first real career job can be so scary because, yes, you did just go through however many years of school you went through to prepare yourself for the workforce. But I don't know, there's so many factors that can play into it, right? Like it could be how the market is currently with hiring and with hiring people at that entry level, figuring out how to sell yourself at that entry level, figuring out what kind of experiences you need, how to write a CV, how to write a cover letter, how to answer interview questions. There's so much that we can cover here, but my best tips and wisdom just for like your overall mental state in this period is to try to reframe your brain and think of it as honestly one of the most exciting periods of your life. You are on the precipice of entering a new stage in your life, a new phase, and that is so incredibly exciting. Yes, it can seem daunting because it's your first time, but you really did just go through several years of schooling, learning everything that you could possibly get from an education to prepare you for this job. And in a lot of ways, it has. I think another really exciting thing to think about when you're in this stage is that you may have a career in mind, but the possibilities are endless. That's something that I have loved learning as I've grown in my career path is that you might have come out of psychology, but you don't necessarily need to be a psychologist. You might have come out of an English major, but you don't necessarily need to be a professor or a writer. Like, the things that you learned in school from your education are just skills to add to your life. The amount of people that I've known that come out of arts and have gone into business or have gone into research or have gone into marketing, like you can switch paths. And this is that fork in the road where you get to decide what you want to do for the next couple of years. Sorry, does that sound scary? I know it's a bit hard for me to talk about because obviously I've gone through that stage and I'm at a different stage in my life now, but thinking back, like what an amazing, exciting time. I was just so full of energy and so ready to tackle what life has to offer me and to see what life has to offer me. So try to think of it in that way. You're going to have many more moments in your life where you can worry about whether you made a right choice, whether you're in the right career path, whether you love what you're doing. But this is the time for you to set like the foundation for that all. Try to think about, like really think about, what are the roles that you want to do? What are your dreams? What is your goal with your career? This is also the time for you to plan, for you to actually like give yourself space and time to build that foundation for yourself. The foundation that will not only help you climb the corporate ladder if that's what you want to do, or build a business if that's what you want to do, but the foundation that leads you to be like the human that you want to be as well. I took a lot of time during my between grad and career time, just like learning about myself. And I think that was really, really critical in who I am today. I read a lot of self-help. I started to think more deeply about myself, started to try to be more aware of what I like, who I am, and who I want to be. I think that is just a really exciting time because it's the time that you get to like craft all of that. You are now just looking at a blank page in a notebook. You've got your pen in hand. You've got all the tools you need to write your story. As far as practical tips go, I would say just like prepare yourself, right? Start working on your cover letter. Start really understanding what the interview process might look like. Reach out to people. Reach out to people who are in the roles that you want to be in, either like associates of friends or through LinkedIn, and take them out for coffee. Just enjoy this time and really get to know like what that next step is going to look like, and start working on the things necessary for you to get there. I've made several YouTube videos where I talk about the things that you can do to really help you achieve like different roles. So I'll make sure to link all of the relevant ones in the show notes if you want to go and check that out afterwards. But Rainbow, I'm so excited for you. You really are in such an exciting stage, and I want you to be able to feel that excitement as well. If you hear any background noise, aka beeping, it's because there's snow being plowed outside. Like somebody literally is on a bobcat and shoveling snow, which is great. I'm so thankful that they're doing that on my road, but yeah, there's beeping. Hopefully I can edit it out. I am Yafa asks, I'm a multi-passionate. How can I start my content creation over different channels? Oh my goodness. You've asked a great question because this is something that I still struggle with. Hence why I have 3 YouTube channels, an Instagram page, 2 Instagram pages, 2 TikTok pages, a Red account. Like, your girl has really been going through it. I think what has helped me as somebody who is also interested in a lot of things and therefore wanting to share about a lot of things is first figuring out like what those things are. Break them in what we call in marketing content pillars. So how I did this was I just wrote out like all the things that I have learned and that I want to teach and that I'm interested in, and made a giant list. Then I created buckets for those lists, like categories, and I would group them. So maybe if I said I wanted to teach or like talk about journaling, but also mental health, but personal growth, I grouped that all in like a personal development, personal growth category. Maybe I want to talk about career, marketing jobs, tech jobs. I can group those all in a career category. Maybe I want to talk about fashion and beauty and the things that I love. Then I can group that in its own category. So create these groups, and then once they're all created, look at what those groups are and how they can make sense together. So for example, fashion and beauty kind of make sense together, as well as lifestyle, because I think both fashion and beauty really fit into that lifestyle category. But what else fits in a lifestyle category? It could be the things I eat. It could be the things I enjoy doing, the books I read. All of those things are things that I can easily incorporate into lifestyle content. So if those are all the topics that you like talking about, then maybe a lifestyle page is good for you. Or if you are thinking about personal growth and career success, aka what this podcast is about, personal growth and career success, then maybe you can create something like this where it talks about productivity, where it talks about how personal growth fits in that and how it fits into your career or your business. I honestly have such a bone to pick with the way that content is structured these days and how we are always just told to niche down. And I understand why niching down works. The reason niching down works is because if you create a TikTok page, let's say about just marketing tips, then TikTok will look at your page, look at your content, and understand, okay, these are marketing tips. We should send these out to anyone who has an interest in marketing. And so in turn, that account will constantly be shown to the right audience, and you're always going to get the perfect people who just want marketing tips to look at your TikTok, and then TikTok's going to share it further because people are enjoying it, and that's how an account grows. However, the truth of the matter is, as humans, we don't just have one thing that we're trying to talk about and that we're interested in. And so I struggled with this for so long because I was like, I don't want to just talk about marketing tips. I don't want to just talk about productivity. I don't want to just talk about books. I want to talk about all the things. And for that, I say, yes, it is probably better for you to have separate channels for those things. So my main YouTube channel, I talk about productivity, career, and a little bit of personal growth, how that fits in. On my second channel, I talk about books and perfume and vlogs and things that I like. On the podcast, it's an intersection between personal growth and career success. On my Instagram, I mainly talk about fashion, lifestyle, and beauty. So I did have to create separate pages for these topics in order for them to grow, because if you think about it, the reason somebody would follow your account is because they are looking for the specific information that you are trying to give. Now, there is a different group of content creators out there, and it's rare and hard to become this other group of content creators, but they are essentially personalities. We follow them because we like them. We are willing to listen to them talk about anything. And this becomes a lot easier to do when you've already built an audience. So I guess my tip really is to just narrow it down a little bit, at least figure out what buckets make sense together and start there and start creating content about those topics. Because what you're going to learn in the process is 1, how to create good content, 2, how to build community and build an audience, but 3, whether or not those topics are really topics that you can consistently talk about for years on end. And if in the process you do end up building an audience who loves you for who you are, then at some point you're going to grow to a point where you can talk about anything that you want. My best tip for anyone who wants to start content creation is to just start, just experiment, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know if this piece of content is going to resonate. You maybe don't know how to write a good hook yet, or how to structure your content in a way that is both valuable and entertaining for your audience. You really have to experiment, because that experimentation period is what's going to lead you to be a great content creator. So figure out your buckets, let's say 3 or maybe 2 buckets, and just start creating content and go from there. Another question that I got in relation to content creation is from Fatima Ezra Basari. I'm sorry if I completely butchered your name, but they ask, I want to start content creation, but I keep thinking about other people's judgment. Any tips? Oh my gosh, do I have tips? Where's my phone? I recently started reading Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, and I actually took some photos of the quotes that I pulled from literally the first chapter, which is the first letter that he writes to this young poet that he's helping. And did they resonate? And they're really relatable to this question as well. So Rilke says, nothing is less relevant to a work of art than the judgments of other people. Whether positive or negative, they will always reflect some measure of misunderstanding. You are looking outward, and now you must avoid that at all cost. No one can advise or help you, no one. There's only one thing to do. Go into yourself. Ask yourself why you pursue this thing that you call writing, which is what they're teaching about, but in our case, place it'll be creating content, look and see if its roots draw from the deepest place in your heart. And then another quote says, protect yourself from the stale motifs and turn to your own life. Portray your sorrows and daydreams, your passing thoughts and beliefs stirred by a glimpse of beauty. Describe it all with a quiet, humble honesty, using the things themselves, the images of your dreams, and the objects of your memory. If your daily life seems too bleak, don't blame it. Blame yourself that you are not poet enough to call forth its wealth. The reason I think this is so relatable is because I really truly believe that we are too obsessed with what people think and with the metrics, the numbers, because that's what social media is. That's what the numbers on social media is. Your engagement, your likes, your comments, your followers. It's all looking at what other people think of our content. And sometimes when we're not careful, we start to believe that the number of likes that I have or comments that I have or followers that I have are showing whether or not people like me. Yes, I do understand that that does apply in some sense, because I think nowadays on social media, we all crave connection and we all look for people to watch that we feel a connection to, that we quote unquote like. So anytime any of my friends who have been pondering content creation for years and years ask me this question, I always tell them, like, why don't you take a step back and think about why you want to start content creation? Is it because you want to turn it into a business? Is it because you are learning things and you just want to share them online? Is it because you enjoy filming and editing videos and it's an art for you? Once you figure out that reason, take a step back and think about, okay, if it is to start a business, if I want to build this into a business, what I think about what people think about me as I'm building this business, if I'm building an e-commerce store, am I going to be sitting there worrying about people judging the fact that I'm building an e-commerce store? Probably not. I'd be like, heck, I'm building an e-commerce store. Like, what's there for you to judge about? I'm building a business. At least I'm doing something. If it's to share something, to share your knowledge with the world, why does it matter what people think? You are doing a service to the world. You are sharing knowledge. You are sharing beautiful things. The same with art. I doubt that painters are painting and every stroke they make, they're like, oh, I hope that someone likes this stroke for what I like it to be. No, artists create because they love creating. So what is your why? Why are you doing this? Figure that out first and then live it. Embody that why. And I promise you, these worries will slowly just start to fade away. Because if you have a purpose for something, whether it's to grow it into a business or because you love to do it, the judgments of others will naturally just fall away, because you'll realize, like, I don't really care. I just want to do it because I'm trying to build a business or because I love doing it. So why does it matter to you? Or another possibility could be maybe you just want to try it. Then who cares what other people think? You're just giving it a go, like low stakes, you know? I know I'm saying it as if it's an easy thing, and I know that this is hard because it's something that I still occasionally think about, but I think that it's something that naturally will fall away as you build confidence in the thing that you're doing and build trust that you can follow through with it. I think those two are really important things to consider as well, like besides your purpose and your why, is like learning to be confident about the things that you are creating and learning to trust yourself that you can actually follow through with something. You said you want to do it, so you did it, and that's something to be proud of. And if you're proud of it, then it really doesn't matter what other people think. Blase Millennial said, I would love for you to talk about finances as an independent girly and how you reached this level. Finances are always an interesting topic because it's like, what do these levels mean? You know, like, are you saying, how did you reach like living, like moving out or having a business, or like, what is this level that you think that I'm in? I did recently talk about on the podcast, which I'll link in the show notes, a no buy, use what I got plan for 2025. And I tried to instill a lot of like what I've learned about budgeting and finances in that video. But essentially, I think like the best way that I can describe how I got to where I am today is really by slowly. Like, I'm gonna just emphasize that slowly because I did truly learn about personal finances very slowly, and I honestly should have prioritized it more growing up. But I just got to a point where I was in a lot of debt during school, and I just felt so anxious and uncomfortable with it that I felt like I needed to figure out a way to combat that and fix those issues. And so I looked into budgeting tools and apps and like different frameworks. There's actually a podcast that I think that you should check out. It's called Dopamine Dollars with Elise Fulmore. She talks all about personal finances. She has great budgeting like templates that you can purchase from her. I think that she does an excellent job at really diving deep into money matters and like I guess like mental parts that come with managing your personal finances. But yeah, for me, I made it a goal to learn how to budget and how to use that budget to pay off my debt. And then from there, once my debt was paid off, I made it a goal to figure out like, okay, what kind of budget can I really allow myself while still saving some money? And by some money, like I was really at the very beginning, like saving like $50 a month or like $100 a month and feeling really proud of that. And you should, right? Like everyone starts somewhere, but I think it's a matter of like building up that foundational knowledge of how to do the basics of setting a budget, of like creating a budget, of following that budget, of the tools necessary for that. And then I think the other part of it is figuring out like your purpose and your goals, because it's actually harder to save money when you don't have a specific goal that you're reaching for. How many times have you kind of told yourself, yeah, I'll save money, and then it kind of just like disappears? But then there are other times where you're like, I need to save money to go to Italy. Like this summer, I need to save money for that. And then suddenly it's way easier to save. It's because you have a reason to and something to motivate you. And I think that's a really important part to consider when you're budgeting as well. It's like, what are you saving for? Is it to buy a place? Is it to move out? Is it to lease a car? So figure out what those little money goals are and how much you need for like to reach that specific goal, and then work backwards from there. How much do I have to save each month if I want to go to Italy in the summer? How much do I have to save if by the end of this year I want to be able to lease a car and I want to be able to cover that car lease for like at least 6 months after the end of this year, like once I get the car. So decide what it is you want, figure out the money plan to get there. I'm still definitely working on this. I don't think my budget is perfect by any means, but at least I have one. Like any standard is better than no standard. So just set those numbers for yourself and start figuring out and learning about the tools that are available to you to accomplish those goals. And I think it's as simple as that. I mean, then we dive into like investments and crypto and all those other things that we hear about all the time about how people are making so much money and it's all great. But if you don't have your foundation properly structured, I don't even think there's a point to think about that yet. So start with the basics, and then as you go, learn about the other things. Like maybe you do have savings now and you have a decent lump sum of savings and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. Maybe talk to your financial advisor, do some research online. Don't rely on one source. Try to get as many sources as you can. And yeah, just like take it step by step. I honestly don't believe that I am super qualified to give you financial advice because, like, everything that I learned about finances, I learned the hard way. I learned about it through having debt, having that anxiety, and just like literally doing the research day by day and trying to get better day by day. So that's really the advice that I can give you, is to learn as much as you can about it and see how the knowledge that you've gathered from wherever you're gathering it, whether it's Elisa's podcast, or I know there's another podcast called Money with Katie that I used to listen to, or blogs or articles or Reddit or wherever, and see how those tips and insights really align with your goals and helping you reach them. Aminor Zen's song asks, what are some things to help with sleep when you are stressed? Oh my gosh, great question again, because this is so aligned with where I'm at in life right now. So over the last 6 months or so, I have come to realize that my cortisol levels are way too high and it is negatively affecting my body so much. And so I've been really trying to figure out things that I can do to help with that, because when you have high cortisol levels, aka when you're stressed and you're anxious, it affects your body in a lot of different ways. It can actually make you gain weight in your midriff specifically, which is so annoying. It can make you lose sleep. It can cause you to be unfocused. It can give you brain fog. It can cause you to have acne like it did with me. It can break your body down in a million different ways. But when it comes to sleep specifically, the things that I have done that have really, really helped is, one, not having a big meal before I sleep. So I try to really put a decent amount of time between dinner and sleep, so that it gives my body the chance to digest. Another tip is to not look at my phone right before bed. And I'm still very guilty of this, but I try to read before bed instead, because I don't know the science about blue light and how that affects you, but I hear that it does really affect how you sleep and your ability to sleep. So anything that's going to help me, I'm willing to try. Red light therapy is great. I recently got the Hatch Restore, which is this little bedside device that will play meditations, will play soundscapes, have different lighting options. So I have it set to every night. My unwind routine is it'll turn on the red light and then it'll read me a meditation, a guided meditation. If you're not into meditation, you can just use it for the soundscapes. If you aren't into soundscapes, I like to just use it as a clock. I like to just use it as an alarm clock or a light, but there's so many different features that I think that it's going to help anyone who's just trying to have a better sleep. But I love the red light. I love turning off all my lights in the bedroom and just having that red light, and it's so peaceful. I also started taking magnesium before bed. There's actually a few things that I started taking supplements wise that I found have helped. L-theanine I take in the morning. It is a natural amino, I believe, found in green tea, and it helps you focus while giving you energy. And I hear that it's supposed to be really great to be taken with a tea or coffee, because you're still going to get the energy that you get from your caffeine, but it's going to help you feel less jittery and help you be able to focus more. I also sometimes take a GABA, which is a beta blocker that helps with cortisol levels, and I'll take that in the evening. And then I take magnesium every night, or I try to, before I sleep, because it helps you relax and it helps make you sleepy. And I think just having these little things having a mindful morning, having a good unwind routine, taking the right supplements, taking care of my body, really just helps set me up so that when it's time to go to sleep, I am ready. I am tired. I am at peace. I am calm. And it's just putting me in the best position to have the best sleep ever. So I hope that helps. I think you really need to experiment yourself, what works for you, because not everyone likes to meditate. Not everyone likes to do yoga or read, or, they want to do their own research about supplements. And I think that's totally fine. But those are just the things that have worked for me that I found. So take one thing, try it out for a while, see if it works for you. If not, you can switch to another thing. Or if it does, you can add on another thing to help you build up a routine that really helps you more than just sleep better, but it helps you de-stress and have a lower cortisol life as well. Danny Hernandez asks, what do you do to help yourself when you're experiencing imposter syndrome with work? I actually have a whole episode about imposter syndrome, so I'm going to link that in the show notes for you, Danny. But honestly, my best tips for imposter syndrome really is just to dig deeper and try to figure out where that imposter syndrome is coming from. I think a lot of the time we can look at how we're feeling when it comes to imposter syndrome with work and quickly identify, maybe it's because I've never done this type of project before, and that's why I feel imposter syndrome. Or maybe it's because I feel like I don't have enough knowledge to fulfill this role and I lied on my resume, but I got the job and now I have to live it. Like, whatever the reason is, oftentimes when you look at those reasons and dig a little deeper, your imposter syndrome and the feelings that you're feeling are rooted in something totally independent. Like, my imposter syndrome roots in feeling like I'm not enough. That is what I discovered in therapy. So many of my problems in life are rooted in my feeling of not being enough. What does it mean to be enough, even? Like, why do I have this fear? I mean, I have this fear because of the relationships that I have with my parents, of the way that I was raised, of being the eldest daughter, of having crappy boyfriends and having those affect my life, of not ever learning how to stand up for myself. Like, there's so many reasons that have created this problem of feeling like I'm not enough. And that feeling like I'm not enough then translates into all these different areas of my life. It's not an easy solution, like digging deeper and creating more awareness with yourself. But if I think about like what will actually help you and not just be like an Advil to band-aid the pain, that is what has helped me the most. Digging down to that root problem, trying to figure out where it came from, journaling about it, trying to work through that. And in turn, that has given me like the confidence to show up at work as my best self, to trust myself that I can do all the things. I think the other tips are just like kind of building that trust over time as well, and doing the things that you need to build up that trust. How you build up trust with yourself. I also do have an entire episode on this, so I'll link it in the show notes, but you essentially have to like slowly show yourself that you can actually do the things that you promised yourself, that you can accomplish the tasks that you set out to do, and that you can keep your promises to yourself. So if you're just kind of like experimenting with this, start with something small. Tell yourself, today I am going to write 1 page in my journal. In fact, start smaller. Today I'm going to write 3 sentences in my journal, and then do that for 20 days, 30 days, 60 days, and do not miss a day, because your purpose here is to keep it really simple, make it really doable so that you can actually do it every single day and start building that trust with yourself and showing yourself, hey, I'm disciplined. I can do the things I set out to do. And slowly over time, that trust and confidence will compound. It'll make you achieve more things, keep more promises with yourself, and then it will override those senses of feeling like I'm not enough, or I'm not loved, or I am not capable, whatever your like self-belief is. And no, it's not going to like heal magically and it's never going to appear again, because sometimes I still do feel like I'm not enough, but it'll just help you get to a point where you can be like aware of it. Now, when I'm feeling really shitty, I can like turn in and ask myself, okay, what's this about, Angel? What's going on? And then I can identify, I'm not feeling enough today. I don't feel good today. Okay, that's fine. How can we do the things that make you feel good today? So I will set one goal for the day. I will accomplish that goal. I'll check it off and I'll be like, you did great. You can take the rest of the day off, or you can rest now, or you can chill out, whatever. But having that awareness has just helped me so much so that I can actually identify when I am feeling certain ways. I know why I'm feeling that way. And then I also have a plan to help me get out of those mindsets. Does that make sense? N Hung IMO asks, how do you manage so many projects and keep everything on track? The way I do it is through Notion, is through prioritizing, through time blocking, and through the OKR method. Those are my tried and true. I'm going to link a ton of content down below. I'll, put your question and then link the content that I think would be really helpful for you, because oh man, I've spent a lot of time making content around this, but essentially, let me break it down. I have the OKR method, which I learned in my tech job, which stands for objectives and key results. And it is a goal setting, like alignment method that allows you to identify the objectives and the key results it takes to reach those objectives for every project that you do. This helps me create a baseline of what I what I am trying to accomplish and how I'm going to get there. From there, I break it down into like a getting things done, like GTD, Kanban, whatever you want to call it, system that I've built out in Notion. I do actually offer my exact productivity template within my shop, so I'll link that down below as well. But this system truly holds everything. It holds all of my projects. It holds all of the tasks related to those projects. It holds deadlines, priorities, categorizations. This is where my brain lives. As soon as I have a piece of information enter my brain, I enter it into the system so I don't forget it. And it's important that you build one system. Just one system. Don't have, an agenda here, your tasks there, your projects in your iPhone notes. Keep it all in one place so that you're telling your brain essentially, I have a single source of truth. This system keeps track of everything so that I don't have to keep it in my brain and I don't have to subconsciously stress about it throughout the day because I know I put it in my system. I know that it's a habit and I know that it's going to be there when I need to figure out what the next step is. So now all of that information about everything that I need to do is in my system. Then I time block it and I prioritize it. So time blocking is essentially a scheduling format and tool that you can use where you group your tasks throughout a day, batch those tasks, and plan out your schedule. So I will look at my system in Notion and then I'll figure out, okay, these are the tasks that are due, that have tight deadlines. These are the tasks that I need to prioritize. And then I take that master list and I start plopping it into my schedule. I have recently started to batch my days as well. So instead of having a day be broken down into like I film in the morning, then I edit in the afternoon, then I write in the evenings, I will do one filming day where maybe I'll film one video, 2 short form videos, or maybe 2 videos, 3 short form videos. And then I'll have editing days, which are the days that I am purely editing. I'm putting together the videos, I'm doing the A cuts, I'm putting in the B-roll, I'm doing all of that. I will have writing days, I will have business planning days, I will have organization days. But the reason that I kind of really like to batch my days now is to avoid context switching, which is that point where your brain is just like frantically switching from task to task to task and causing it a lot of mental fatigue. That is so inefficient. And maybe it works for some people. I don't know. Maybe you have magic brains, but it doesn't work for me at all. I just get tired from like switching from task to task and I lose focus. So for me, being able to batch my days really, really helps. It helped when I was working a 9 to 5. It helps now that I'm running my own business. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say those are the 3 main components of how I get everything done. I have my goals and key results. I break it down into a system that I know works because I have spent years building this productivity system. And then I schedule it into my calendar in a neat and productive and efficient way. And then I follow that calendar to a T. Now, I want to leave one last comment about this, which is there's no point in having any of this if you're not going to follow it. You need to live it. You need to lock in, okay? You need to act like as if this is your Bible. This is the law. This is how you do things around here. And you cannot stray from it because if you stray from any of these, there's no point in having it because it's not going to work. The only reason a system works is because you put it to use and you make it work. So build this out for yourself, whatever it may look like. You may not use OKRs. You may have a different goal setting method. You may not use Notion. Maybe you use money.com or something like that. But pick the systems that you want to use, build it out and customize it to how you like to work, and then use it every single day. Do not stray from it. Don't stray from your calendar. Don't ignore the tasks that you set out for yourself to do. Build that trust for yourself. Work in your system, believe that it works, and see the results. It really is that simple. Does it sound simple to you? It sounds simple to me now because I've been doing it for so long, but I do get that it feels very daunting when you're first building that system. Some books that I recommend are Atomic Habits, Getting Things Done. I can't think of any other from the top of my head, but I'll try to list some books that I think will be really, really great reads for you when it comes to this topic. Because yeah, that's kind of how I got all of my information is like watching other people do it, asking how other people do it, which you're on the right track here. And then reading about it and just figuring out what that system looks like for me. Axon123 asks, how to know if you're ready for a relationship? Ooh, juicy. Okay, my answer would be, do you know who you are, what your values are, what your goal is with a relationship, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what kind of partner you're looking for, what kind of partner you're not looking for, what kind of partner you can be, what is your attachment style, how are you in a relationship? Do you know those things about yourself? And I know that some of them can be hard to define and figure out if you've never been in one, but you could evaluate and try to answer those questions through looking at relationships in your life. Maybe it's like your friend's relationship with her boyfriend, or maybe it's your parents' relationship or your aunts and uncles' relationship. But try to be observant and look at what relationships look like in real life, not on social media, never on social media, but in real life. And then decide for yourself, what is it that I want and that I need? What are my needs? What is my love language? Like, how can I make sure that my needs are being met, that I am dating somebody who is compatible with me? Well, I feel like this is going to start to sound messy, but essentially you just want to have a deeper understanding of yourself first and what you want. And I think that's the only way you can figure out whether you're ready for a relationship and what kind of relationship that you're ready for. It's not just about whether you're ready, because how you determine whether you're ready is by determining what kind of relationship do you want. And I know it's easy to say, like, I want a healthy relationship, I want a happy relationship, but like, get into the details. If you know that you have the attachment style of like anxious, and you know that your love language is words of affirmation and physical touch, then maybe that's what you look for in your partner. You look for a partner who also shares the same love languages, or somebody who is really, really willing to match you at your love languages. You look for a partner who is stable, who is not avoidant, because avoidant attachment styles will really mess up you as an anxious attachment style person, and vice versa. I think if you're in a stage in your life where you are not in a relationship, maybe you haven't been in your first serious relationship yet, or maybe you are just taking a break in your relationships, this is the perfect time to evaluate your own needs and to get a better understanding of yourself. Like, I get it. Relationships are cute and romantic and can be magical, but man, like alone time where you can focus on yourself and no one else is so important. And so use that time wisely. Get to know yourself, get to know your wants, your needs, your desires, your dreams, your hopes, what kind of partner you dream about, what you want in that partner, how you take care of your own needs so you can tell your partner one day how they can take care of your needs, what kind of partner you want to be, what kind of human you want to be. I know it's going to sound really cheesy, but you know that saying that says like the best things in your life come when you're least expecting it? I want to add to that, okay? Because yes, it is true. The best things in life do come when you least expect it, but the best things in life also come at a point where you are at a stage where you're ready to receive it. The universe is going to send you your man when you're at a point where you're ready to receive it. So maybe if you haven't dated in a while, it's just the universe telling you that you need to take some more time for yourself and learn about yourself and learn to love being alone and to be your own human and to turn into the strong, independent, loving, amazing, kind, friendly human that you need to be able to receive and be in the healthiest, most happiest relationship ever. So like really, truly don't stress about when you're going to be ready or what it looks like when you're ready, because when you're ready, you'll know. When you're ready, you're going to feel ready to date. You're going to be excited to date. And that person will come for you. Underscore YXNG asks, I'm a UX designer going into my second year of full-time. Advice on leveling up in your career. Okay, when it comes to leveling up in your career, I think it's a matter of figuring out like what that next step is. Do you want to be a senior designer? Do you want to be a lead designer? Do you want to move linearly and maybe move to a different team? Do you want to, what is it that you want? What do you want to achieve here? And then once you figured out what you want to achieve with your career, then you figure out and you work backwards on how to get there. So if I want to be a senior designer and I'm a junior designer right now, I would speak with my manager and let them know, hey, I have the ambition of wanting to be a senior designer. What does that look like? What does it take for me to get there? Because your manager is going to be the best person to tell you that. If you want to move like laterally to a different department, maybe you can let like a close manager know that as well. Be like, hey, this position, I found this position, or like this position came up in a different department and I'm really interested in it. Is there any way that, like, what are the steps it takes for me to be able to enter a position like that? And come with your proof as well. Like, you've worked 2 years as a designer. That is amazing. You have work to show now. You can bring up the projects that you have really been a critical part in. You can bring up the amazing designs that you've created or the design systems that you've created and be like, hey, like, these are all things that I'm really proud of and that I was able to accomplish in my last 2 years here. How do I get to the next step? I think your manager or whoever your higher up is going to be the best person to be able to tell you that. But you do first need to identify what it is that you're trying to go for. Like, is it a promotion? Is it a performance review? Is it just a promotion? Maybe then you just request a performance review and have all your achievements on hand so that you're ready to say like, hey, these are the things that I've achieved for the company. These are the results it's brought in. I want to work towards the next step. If it is a like position change, then ask for the steps for that. But understand your needs and what you want. And then however you figure out the steps together, whether it's knowing that you should take on more workload or whether it's, taking the initiative to like spearhead a new project or speaking to your manager and asking them for the steps and the timelines. But like essentially we're trying to create like a step-by-step process here so that the path becomes really, really clear and you understand exactly what needs to be done in order for you to achieve it. And I think performance reviews are great to ask for. Like, don't just ask for performance reviews when you're ready for a raise. Ask for performance reviews just like on the regular, because that feedback is going to be so important. If your manager is consistently telling you in your performance reviews, you're doing amazing, this project went amazing, the results are amazing, note that shit down, write it down and bring it as proof when you're ready to move to that next step. And if they're coming back at you and being like, hey, this is really great, but I would love it if you, spent more time on design systems or spent more time on this or that, then take note of that feedback and work on it. Like, put your head down, work on that. And then once you have achieved or accomplished that thing, come back and been like, hey, I've consistently met all of the expectations and the goals and I'm ready for the next step. What does that look like? Katie the Snorlax asks, how do you motivate yourself when you're too much in the feels, feeling depressed or unmotivated? Ooh, so tough. Honestly, I recently had to go through this where I was like, truly going through a really, really bad emotional rut. How I got myself out of it was like literally taking it day by day, but also really trying to like listen to my body and allowing it to have what I want and what I needed while balancing it out with like working back to a place of being somebody that I am happy with. So that looked like days where I just felt completely emotionally drained, I will let myself have as a rest day. But then on days where I'm feeling even the slightest bit better, I'm going to take hold of that and try to do something that day. And don't try to push yourself too quickly to come out of that, because it can turn into like an unrealistic kind of thing that you've set for yourself. You want slow and consistent growth here is the best way to do it. So if you're feeling up for it, maybe give yourself one task to do that day or one goal that you want to achieve. If you're feeling up for it, maybe give yourself one or two healthy habits that you can practice that day, whether it's making yourself a healthy meal, doing 10 minutes of stretching. Just start really small. But in turn, as you continue to take these tiny steps into a regular, happy, energetic life, your body will start to train itself and your mind will start to train itself to like slowly climb out of that dark place. So, yeah, kind of evaluate what those things are that make you feel better, the healthy habits, the goals that you want to achieve, the small goals that you want to achieve. Make a list of it and then start from step one and start slowly. And that's how I kind of was able to like come out of it. Like I would have days where I really just don't do anything except for maybe just like one, like I wrote half a newsletter or like I scripted one video, or maybe not even that. Maybe I just wrote like a title or wrote a couple of ideas down and then I just laid in bed and cried for the rest of the day. But at least I did that one thing, and doing that one thing or those two things or those three small things should be something that you're proud of, because being in a dark place is really, really tough and it's scary and it's awful. And so any steps you take to come out of that is something to be proud of and to applaud yourself for. And try not to be too hard on yourself for not coming out of it quickly or, like bouncing back right away, because as humans, like we just need time sometimes to process things, to work through our emotions, and that is totally okay. There is no like specific path that you're supposed to take out of it. Just like do what your body and your mind is telling you and continue to work on it day by day. Like grow and do better day by day. And that's honestly the best thing that you can do for yourself. Okay, I think I'm going to end the questions off here. Thank you to everybody who sent in a question on my Instagram page, as well as the Feel Good Lab pod Instagram page. I always have so much fun doing these episodes because it makes me feel like it's a genuine like chance for me to connect with you, because in your questions, I see the things that you are struggling with. I feel you, they resonate with me because they're things that I have gone through. And, I try to put like a fun, casual, sisterly twist to the tough love episodes, but really like, I don't know, they make me feel really warm because one, you are willing to be vulnerable with me and share your issues with me. And two, you're at a point where you're ready to ask for advice and take that next step. And for that, I just want to tell you that I am so proud of you. I'm proud of you for wanting to grow and to improve and to work on yourself and to work on your career and do all the things that, make life so beautiful and fun and exciting. Again, if you want to be a part of future Tough Love episodes and you have burning questions that you want advice for, you can email me at hello@coffeeswithangel.com or DM me on any of the platforms that we're on. And if you made it this far into the episode, what's up, Feel Good fam? I love you so much. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'm honestly just like honored that you would choose to spend this time with me and that you want to have these conversations with me. I love you so much. If you did get to this point of the video, let's comment a little star emoji in the comments so I know that you're a real one and that you made it this far and that you are a part of my favorite little community, which is the Feel Good fam. I love our corner of the internet. It makes me feel so safe and comforted to know that, there are people like you out there who are facing the same things I'm facing, who's just working through their life the way that I'm working through it. And we are in this together and we're going to help each other grow and get better and improve and reach our goals. And I'm really, really excited for us, for all of the things that we're going to accomplish. But that is all that I have for you for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to answer some questions that maybe you were pondering. So other than that, I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye!